Well, this could be a problem. This poor Rhaphidophora has snapped, and it was really a glorious thing. It went clear up to the ceiling and then was hanging over with 3 different pieces, which I'll show you here. And so you can see that's where the snap is. We have 1, 2, 3 different stems, and they go clear back down to the floor. So those have been broken off now, and really, even though I didn't knock it over, nor did anyone else in the family, I'll just say, it is my fault, because this was never, you know, these bamboo poles, I had them in a little teepee, and then it got too tall for the poles that I had, so I added an extra, and that just really isn't proper support for what I now know was quite a lot of weight because of so much growth. So it's completely my fault, and believe me, I'm gonna pay for it. I guess all there is to do now is get cleaning. There's no sense in crying because the work is done. I've already broken my plant. I need to decide what I'm gonna do, and if that's cut this into many pieces, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm certainly going to think about a different staking system for this plant, and I'm going to take this opportunity to check in with the roots and see how we're doing there. And I'm going to clean up a crap ton of pon out of carpeting. So as I said, I'll pay for my mistake very well, but we'll get through this. So here we go. Okay, I'm going to make my cut right here. We're not gonna probably be able to keep it in frame because I'm trying not to use a tripod, so hang on a second. There it is. So here is where I've made my cut. And even with all that heavy top gone, this is still not even wanting to balance. So that just shows me how completely inappropriate. There, I got it to balance. So this is what I have left. Oh, poor baby. It's awful. This is what I have left. And then below we have the cutting. So far it's just 1. But like I said, we have 3 different stems coming off of it and quite a lot of leaves. Beautiful. These are, in my experience, quite tricky to get to root. So I may take several different ways of rooting and try sphagnum and just water propagation. Maybe I'll do perlite and see which one gives me the most success. And thankfully I have a lot of plant material here to work with. So if something is, you know, dies or rots, then I will have more plant material to work with. So I'm grateful for that, but it does suck because this was just like a huge, it was the whole corner of this room. Actually, you couldn't really see my cabinet very well from behind it. So yeah, some changes will happen. I'm not even sure if this is gonna stay in the living room. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but definitely some big changes. So I will keep you updated as to what I do with these. as far as propagating, and then am I going to keep them all? Am I going to sell it? This is, if you are familiar with my channel, then you know that I have two different Rhaphidophora tetrasperma plants. One is my tissue culture plant, which is over here, and this one is also quite massive. He's a big boy. So this one grows completely differently to my stem cutting. I mean, you can just see the leaves. They're still much smaller, much less mature. I mean, I can literally hold them next to each other now because, so here is my tissue culture. Here is my stem cutting. I have now had these for, I'll put it up on the screen because I actually am not sure how long I've had them for. And yeah, still not showing any signs of wanting to be more similar to each other. They're just continuing to do their own thing. So that's, you know, that's a hot topic for some people, and people disagree on it, but I mean, the results are right here in my living room. They have the same exact light, they have the same humidity, and they just have grown very differently from each other. So anyway, we'll come back and I'll show you what I decide to do with these. So the first thing I want to do is just check out the roots on this plant and see if they're doing okay. I have had, I've lost some leaves that were just kind of turned yellow, but since they're near the bottom of the plant, it's not something I want to panic about. And so I haven't done anything really about that, but now seems like a good time to kind of look. And I'm just trying to think like what is going to be the best way to do this. This is literally, these poles are propped up against the top of my piano, and I don't want to damage roots. So I think, am I in frame? I think I'm going to just let the pond empty out onto this mat. Okay. So roots are good. They're not bad. I had some that grew down underneath. This would have been like what is supposed to be the bottom of the Lechuza pot. And I've had some roots that grew through, which is totally normal. Where there is water, the roots are gonna go. So I'm just gonna try to loosen those. And this is a twofold exploration. I wanted to see the healthiness of the roots, but I also wanted to see if I need to up pot. I'll let you know in a minute. Oh, I'm gonna lose this big darn. I had to pick that off. But anyway, that's a pretty good amount of roots. They're healthy, there's no rot. Yeah, they feel nice. That's good. I'm not unhappy with that. So, is this right? No. Okay, that's soil that was left on those roots, which is with Lechuza pond. It's totally okay to leave soil on the roots and use the pond. I don't know if you're aware of that. So I don't think this needs to be up potted. This is a, Lechuza calls it a 21, and I think it has something to do with the measurement across, and it's in centimeters. So I'm gonna clean out the inside of this because this is all like dust. It's this really fine dust that you'll get from Lechuza pond. So I'm going to clean all that out, get all the dead roots out, clean off this riser, and come back to you here and get this back in its container, and probably going to find something, I don't know what, for this to climb up. We'll see what I can come up with. Okay, so here's how my pot looks. I scratched it. Where am I? Here. I'm not sure what I did. How I did that while I was cleaning. But I don't love this. And I'm going to try a magic eraser and see if that does anything. But I got a lot of that sludge out of there. And it was really thick and really gross. So I think one thing you could do if you wanted to try and combat that would be just to pre-rinse your pond before you use it. Of course, that's never a bad idea with any planting substrate, but I'm lazy and I don't do that. So, and I'm not going to either. So anyway, so I'll just get my riser. I got that pretty clean, not totally, but I got all the roots off of it. The riser goes back in. Here is the little piece that's got a little bit of root on it. That just tucks in like this. And this tells you your water level. That has a little bit of dead root on it. And that goes in here so that you'll know how much water is in there, because this is a self-watering pot. And next thing I'm going to do is just get the roots down in there. And then I have to go hunting around and see if I can find whatever kind of a support I'm going to use for this. So that's my next task. Also, I'm going to kind of dig through this pile of pon because there are some roots, just little root pieces that got damaged in the fall or when I was dumping all this out. Probably a combination of those. And just try to get the big chunks out of there. And I'm reusing. There's no reason for me not to reuse this. I haven't had any insect issues with this. And the only thing is, after pon has been used for 3 to 6 months, whatever fertilizer is in it is considered used up. And so you have to supplement that way. It's not a reason for me to get fresh pon, I don't think. So I'm going to go look for a different support for this poor plant. Fortunately, I do have some moss poles that I actually bought for other plants, but that are now going to be given to my Rhaphidophora because, you know, when a plant is so desperate for a proper pole that it breaks itself in half and pitches itself off of the stand it was sitting on, you kind of have to, as a plant parent, you have to just stand up and take attention, don't you? Poor baby. Of course, we all know there's a much easier way to do that, and that's this, and that's, I'm going to take this pot off of here and just dump what remains on this mat in here, and then I will transition to a moss pole, I think. Yes. Okay, well, I'll just show you what I have. So there is what's left of my Rhaphidophora. Poor baby, look at this poor sad creature. I'm going to take these off, and I'm going to leave, I think, just one pole and try to get the rest of these out of here. Come on, Bridget. You guys can't even see what the heck I'm up to. I mean, maybe this is better, maybe not. All right. So the new support or poles that I have are these, which have a wooden spike, and then they have a hole in the top. Here's one that's not wrapped, still a little bit bright, but so you can add one into the next, which I love. I have these listed below if it's something you would be interested in using for your own plants. So I'm going to, I want this to begin right here. I don't want to damage roots. It's always a tricky issue. Okay, good. Perfect. And then I'm just going to keep adding pon. Oops, you're not in frame again. Doggone it. I am so sorry. Let's get aiming back down. There we are. Okay, so I'm going to keep adding pon to just below this rim, and that should come up to the bottom of the pole. And as I'm doing it, I'm going to have to just keep propping my plant up until I have it where I need it to be. Okay. No, don't fall. I just don't have enough hands. Not enough hands. I think every plant parent would agree that that is just a very common issue, isn't it? In you go. Excellent. Okay, one more and I think we'll be done here. One nice thing I'll say about pon is you don't have to worry about, is there a big gaping hole and do I have to push down the soil? Like, it packs in tight. And I like that. I like that about it. It doesn't damage roots or anything like that, but you just don't have to worry about air pockets in your soil mix either. Okay, so I've got that filled up. I've got this pretty straight, and I'm going to add two more. I only have two more of these poles, and that's not going to go to the top of the plant that I have, but since the amount of plant that I have here is drastically reduced, it's not going to matter quite so much. So let's get that done. Okay, I've got my other pole extensions, and another thing I'm going to do is go ahead and practice getting some good lengths for this. And the stems on this Rhaphidophora are pretty big, so I'm gonna leave a good amount of extra because eventually I hope to have more than one stem to wrap around as well. But if I have to just make new cuts, I can do that. And I'm gonna bring you back up here so you can see what's happening. So I have the bamboo pole there now just because that's what's supporting my plant. I'm gonna add this pole in. And then just because I don't like stuff looking weird, I'm gonna try and make sure those seams are, let me turn it this way. Now you can see what the heck I'm doing, a little bit at least. Okay, this is gonna be way shorter than I need. I may have to keep the bamboo pole there until I get enough of these to keep this where it needs to go. Let me readjust again. Oh my. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to be careful here because so many leaves have been damaged in this whole process, mostly the one where it fell onto the floor, that I really have to take care of and cherish the few leaves that I have left. This poor plant, talk about traumatizing. Okay, I'm pushing as hard as I can. Oh, frickety frack. Got it. Okay. I'm actually going to move these back around this way. Gently, please. And you. Yeah, all of you. Gonna have to unstrap this. There we go. I think that's better. Okay, that's the last bamboo pole out, and I have got to I've got to order more of these cocoa coir or cocoa husk. I don't know what that is. More of these moss poles. I need to tie this like at least one other place, I think, so that I can sleep at night. But I think after that, we'll be done. So I'm gonna wrestle with that. I think I'll put another tie in my frame, barely, but another tie right here where my thumb is. And it'll be a little bit loose because this is just moving differently than it did when it had the bamboo poles. But I'll get another one there, and then I'll show you what we have so far. All right, so I have this whole top section, which, you know what? That was the problem in the first place when this thing broke. However, it was a whole lot more. It was, they were a lot longer than this is, and there were 3 of them as opposed to just the one. So I'm thinking we'll be okay for the few, like the week or so that it'll probably take for Amazon to deliver some more of these moss poles. So that's where I'm going to leave this plant for now. And I'm not sure if it's going to stay here or not. I don't know. And you know, the other thing is, if I'd have had more than one plant, if I'd have taken cuttings earlier, then it would have been more well balanced. Whereas instead of just having all the weight on one side of a pole, like I just had bamboo poles, but on one side of a pole like this, if you have multiple sides, it's just going to be a better balanced situation, isn't it? It's just really physics. Not my forte, apparently, but look. Oh, my heart is broken. This poor guy, he just got all bashed up. So, I don't know. We've got some yellowing here on the edges of the leaves. With Rhaphidophora, you can cut off the edges of leaves, like this one, and stop the yellowing. That was cut literally probably 6 months ago, and it stopped. So, that's something that you can do. It doesn't look as good, and that's another reason why filling this out with more cuttings, if I can get them rooted, it will make it more stable, and it will certainly look full and much prettier than it looks presently. So that's where I'm going to leave this.